Alright, before we get to the list, here's everything Bethesda has actually released since Fallout 4. And Fallout 4 came out in 2015, so we're covering 11 years here. They released Fallout 76, they released Starfield, Oblivion Remastered, which they outsourced to Virtuos, and they released Skyrim like 5 more times. That's it. That's their last 11 years. But in that same window, here's what else came from Bethesda. A $100 a year subscription, a paid mod store, a second paid mod store after the first one failed, a 36-second video of a rock, and a few months ago, a Nintendo Switch 2 box with nothing inside it. And this whole time, somebody keeps asking Todd when we get a new game. Every interview, every showcase, every year, and every single time, the answer is some version of the same sentence. Well, we're doing more with Fallout than we ever have before. And sure, they were doing more. More store, more subscription, and more Skyrim. So every blunder I'll cover in this video is the same kind of decision being made over and over again. Somebody at Bethesda, Todd, had a choice between making a game and selling you something, and they picked selling 10 times. The first blunder. April 2015, they tried to sell mods. Quick bit of setup. Skyrim in 2015 is 4 years old and still one of the most played games on Steam, which in 2015 is almost ancient, and the reason it's still alive is not Bethesda, because Bethesda stopped patching it. It's alive mostly because of a couple thousand people fixing it for free. That's the unofficial patch, which is volunteers repairing thousands of bugs Bethesda shipped and walked away from. That's the script extender, volunteers rebuilding the game's scripting so other people can build on top of it. New lands, new quests, full voice acting, the stability fixes, the mod that stops the game from crashing when you walk into Whiterun. Free labor keeping a company's back catalog on the charts. Remember that because it comes up about 4 more times. So April 23rd, 2015, Bethesda and Valve launched paid mods on the Steam Workshop. The split is 25% to the person who made the mod. 25. Valve and Bethesda take the other 75% for their contribution, which was existing. 4 years earlier, Bethesda gave away the creation kit specifically so people would do this for free. Now, they want 3/4 of it. And there's a payout threshold on top. So if your mod doesn't clear $100 in sales, you don't get even your 25%. It came apart in like a day. One of the first paid mods up there was a fishing mod, and it turned out it used another modder's animation work. And that guy had not agreed to be in anybody's business, which was always going to happen. The mod scene runs on people borrowing each other's stuff and putting each other in the credits, and that lasts exactly as long as there's no money in the room. 4 days. 4 days before they pulled all of it and refunded everybody. Now you'd think that's a lesson learned. That's a loud lesson delivered to your face by every person who plays your games continuously for 96 hours. So in 2017, they came back with Creation Club, which is paid mods wearing a fake mustache, curated instead of open, priced in a made-up currency called credits, so you cannot tell what you're spending, and it is in Fallout 4 today. You can go to that store page right now and buy things that give you nearly nothing. Blunder number 2, June 2018, The Rock. E3 2018 Bethesda's showcase. Right at the end, a teaser for The Elder Scrolls 6. It's a camera flying over some foggy mountains, 36 seconds, no gameplay, no province, no characters, and no date. It comes to a clearing, the title splashes across the screen, and it cuts to black. That was 8 years ago. That rock has been in development longer than many marriages. That rock is old enough to have opinions, to start school. What really makes it a blunder instead of just a long wait is that they knew. They announced the game you hadn't started building at a press conference to buy Goodwill, and then they told everyone that Starfield's coming first. The announcement's actual job was to make you patient. It bought them years of "it's coming, relax," while the studio worked on something else. For scale, there were 5 years between Oblivion and Skyrim. If Elder Scrolls 6 lands in like 2029, that's 18 years between Skyrim and it. And it's still working for them. This June, Bethesda aired a trailer and a serious number of people talked themselves into it being the one. It wasn't. It's never the one. 3. November 2018, Fallout 76. Now, I'm not going to reiterate all of 76. Everybody has. People way more articulate than me have covered it. But let me stack it up in one run, because it is genuinely impressive in one place. Todd says 16 times the detail. The game launches with 0 human NPCs in Fallout, a series whose entire thing is talking to weirdos in a wasteland. No review copies go out, which tells you they knew. The $200 Power Armor Edition promises a canvas duffel bag and ships nylon. And when people complain, support offers 500 atoms, which is roughly about $5, in the store of the game that made them angry. That's the remedy. You pay $200 actual dollars, they gave you 5 fake ones and told you to go shopping. Then there's the Nuka Dark Rum. Marketing had that beautiful glass Nuka-Cola bottle. What arrived was a little plastic bottle rattling around inside a big box for $80. And then while handling the refunds generated by what I just mentioned previously, their support system leaked customer names and addresses to other customers. You'd open a ticket about your bag and you get somebody's home address. In October 2019, Australia's consumer regulator accepted a court-enforceable undertaking from ZeniMax after they acknowledged they'd likely misled Australian customers about their refund rights. People had complained that Bethesda told them they were not entitled to money back on a game with broken server. 16 times the detail. And yeah, I know that some people say Fallout 76 in 2026 is fine. It's actually fine. Wastelanders put in the NPCs. There are NPCs that should have been there on day one. Steel Dawn was good. There's a real community in there, and that's fine. I'm not going to talk down to them. But that's still 6 years of a fairly small team quietly repairing something, which says nothing good about the decision to ship it in the shape that it shipped. The people who fixed it are mostly not the people who broke it or who delivered it broke. A lot of them got laid off this month. The people who broke it are still doing interviews. Blunder number 4, October 2019, Fallout First. 1 year in, still a mess, and the fix is $100 a year. Fallout First, private servers, unlimited scrap storage, some cosmetics, $100 annually on top of the $60 you already paid. At launch, the private servers were not private, other people could wander in, and the scrap box, the entire selling point, ate people's items. So you're paying $100 a year for a box that eats your things and a private room with a door that doesn't lock. Number 5, November 2021, Skyrim again. Anniversary Edition, 10 years of Skyrim. Let's count them. 2011, Skyrim. 2013, Legendary. 2016, Special Edition. 2017, VR. 2017, Switch. 2021, Anniversary. And 2026, Switch 2. Heavens of one game. Of a game that's at this point 15 years old. Bethesda has released Skyrim more times than From Software has released Dark Souls, and Dark Souls is a series. And re-releasing something people love is fine, it's not a crime by itself. Capcom has been remaking Resident Evils for a decade, and most of them are good. But look at everything else Capcom shipped in that window. RE7, the RE2 remake, Devil May Cry 5, RE3, Village, RE4, Street Fighter. The remakes are just a side dish. At Bethesda, the re-releases are the main meal. 2015 to 2023, Bethesda Game Studios shipped Starfield and did some design work on 76, which was mostly built down in Austin. 8 years, one proper new game. From Software in that same window, Bloodborne, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, Elden Ring, Armored Core 6. Obsidian in that same window, Tyranny, Pillars 2, The Outer Worlds, Grounded, Pentiment, Outer Worlds 2. That's the studio that Fallout just got handed to. I'm sure that's a coincidence. And one more thing about the Anniversary Edition. The update that came with it broke everybody's mods. 10 years of free community work snapped, so they could sell a bundle of Creation Club content. Blunder 6, May 2023, Redfall. Arcane Austin made Prey. Before that, Dishonored. One of the best immersive sim teams that has ever existed. People who build worlds you can take apart 6 different ways. And they got put on a co-op live service looter shooter. Nobody there wanted it. And that's not me guessing. People from that studio said afterwards that the team got pointed at live service because that's what the business wanted. And a lot of the folks who actually knew how to build that kind of game left rather than stay and do it. It launched locked at 30 frames on console with a 60 FPS mode promised for later. Enemies would stand still and watch you, and it required you to be online at all times. In a game you could really play alone. 1 year later, in May 2024, Microsoft closed the studio. The people left behind shipped one last patch, an offline mode, and turned the lights off. So the team that made Prey doesn't work together anymore, and the people who greenlit the subscription are all still employed. Okay, the next one, September 2023, Starfield. This is a big one. Reportedly north of $200 million with about 500 people on it. 8 years, 1,000 planets. That number is the problem, because 1,000 planets in this case meant 1,000 nothings. Procedural terrain with the same handful of prefab buildings sprinkled over it. So you land on your 4th moon and find the identical abandoned cryo lab with the identical datapad you read on the 2nd one. And you can't fly between any of it. You fast travel through a loading screen into a menu into another loading screen in a space game made in 2023 by the people who made Morrowind. 83 on Metacritic on Xbox, 87 on PC, mixed on Steam across tens of thousands of reviews. And the response to it was two things. Todd went on record suggesting people might need to upgrade their PCs, and Bethesda staff started replying to negative Steam reviews directly. Going into the reviews of a game people just paid $70 for to explain that actually the loading screens are fine. Let me pull up the charts real quick. Yeah, a couple thousand people. $200 million, 8 years, and the two biggest RPG franchises in the medium sat still the entire time for that. Number 8, April 2024, Fallout London. Okay, this one actually gets to me. Fallout London is a total conversion mod. Years of unpaid work by a volunteer team. New map, new factions, new quest lines, full voice acting, an entire Fallout game built inside Fallout 4 and given away at a moment when the official Fallout output was a subscription at a hat store. They announced their release date publicly, April 23rd, 2024. Everybody knew. And then Bethesda announced the next-gen update for Fallout 4, April 25th, 48 hours after London's date. A game that hadn't been meaningfully patched in years, and the patch lands 2 days into somebody else's launch. Every mod for Fallout 4 was built against the old version, so an update means all of it stops working. Project lead Dean Carter put it plainly at the time, with the update dropping 48 hours later, 4 years of their work stood to just break. So on April 14, they pulled their own release date. They never got to launch. They delayed, retooled the whole thing for a version of the game that didn't exist yet, and eventually shipped in July through GOG because the mod to 40 gigs and Nexus couldn't host something that size. And the update didn't even do this thing it was named after. The widescreen support just stretched the picture and mangled the interface, and it stayed like that for a long time. What it did successfully deliver was more Creation Club content. So the free game lost its release date because the paid store needed an update. Okay, next one. November 2025, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. An Anniversary Edition for a 10-year-old game. Nobody asked for this. There's not a person alive who asked for this. It broke mods again. It broke saves. Parts of it just flat out did not work on consoles. And it dragged Fallout 4's Steam reviews down to mostly negative, which for a decade-old game that people had long since made peace with, that's genuinely hard to do. You have to actually try. Fallout 4 spent 10 years slowly being forgiven, and Bethesda came back through the door and unforgave it. 2 months of patches to get it roughly back to where it was before they touched it. Now, Bethesda has now confirmed more remasters. Fallout 3, New Vegas, and they didn't say who's building them. Oblivion Remastered was a commercial success, and Bethesda outsourced that one to Virtuos, so the question was never whether a remaster can be good. It can. The question is whether these people can be allowed within 100 yards of a game that currently works. Now, April 2026, the empty boxes. 3 months ago, Skyrim Anniversary and Fallout 4 Anniversary come to Switch 2, and Bethesda confirms the physical retail copies contain nothing. No cartridge, not even a game keycard, which is the thing Nintendo invented for exactly this scenario. You buy a box game, you open the box, there's a download code in there. Skyrim's about 53 gigabytes. Fallout 4 is just under 61. A standard Switch 2 card holds 64. They both fit. Indiana Jones came out 2 weeks later, on May 12 on a full cartridge. The whole game on the card in the box. So the most recent physical object Bethesda has put on a shelf in 2026 is an empty plastic case with a 15-year-old game's name printed on the front. 8 years after the rum bottle, same box, they just took the rum out. So that's the 10. Laid out in order, none of it looks like bad luck. Everyone is somebody picking, selling, over building. 11 years of the same call made by people who kept getting promoted for making it. And the whole time, the people fixing these games for free are the actual real reason people still play Skyrim or Fallout 4. Bethesda has interrupted that work 3 separate times. Twice to open the store, once because nobody thought to check what an update would break. That's why Obsidian got Fallout. It took a new boss about 4 months to look at this exact list and reach the conclusion that everybody watching this reached years ago. Thanks for watching.